Hi Kapil, hi Milinder, hi everyone, hi Sahan.
Hi, Indika. Hi,
I,
all.
I will wait for a few minutes, we'll give a few more minutes for others to join if they are around. Kapil will make a start, right?
Sure, Indika. Uh, Sorry, can you make me as a presenter? Okay, thank you. Okay. Hope my screen is visible.
Yes.
Okay. So, welcome to the final session. So actually, we have covered almost, I think, 10 plus sessions, and we discussed a lot of things, right? Especially CI/CD, focusing on DevOps, and then we discuss Jenkins, right? Spinnaker, Kubernetes, and a lot of technologies, tools. So I think we hope like you have gained a lot of knowledge, and you have you have good understanding on this DevOps stack, and so it's time to actually evaluate basically the what you have learned during this program, and just to demonstrate the knowledge that you have gained. So we have actually created a small evaluation kind of thing, I will explain basically the evaluation, and what are we expecting from you, at the end of this evaluation. So the title of the evaluation is we name it like implement CI/CD for Kubernetes with Jenkins and Spinnaker. So actually, as you remember, like we discussed basically entire this journey, CI/CD journey, and Kubernetes, Jenkins, Spinnaker. So I mean, all of this we have discussed. So this is basically the criteria that we are expecting you to evaluate your this thing, the assignment, or the submission. So we are expecting you to actually maintain Git repository, publish your source code in Git, and so you want, I mean, where we want you to use Jenkins and Spinnaker for CI/CD. So Jenkins for CI, continuous integration, and Spinnaker for continuous deployment. And also, so you should be able to deploy your application in Kubernetes, and so it should be in running. So like we should be able to demonstrate, okay, you have developed this entire CI/CD pipelines and CI/CD journey and application. So you should be able to deploy your application using your Jenkins and Spinnaker pipelines and into Kubernetes. So entire journey end to end, you should be able to basically demonstrate. These are the basically high level criteria, and here actually this is the target architecture. So in this case, actually, as you can see the diagram, this is the place where you host your code base. It's GitHub, so you can create a repository and you host your code, source code in GitHub. Here you have actually two options, right? So one is we have already created a set of microservices and host in GitHub, publish in GitHub. So you can use that and implement your pipeline, or else you can develop your own source code on using Spring Boot. It might be a simple Spring Boot application and host in GitHub, right? Publish in GitHub. So those two options are available. Either you can use our repository or your own one. So, and then you need to configure Jenkins and Spinnaker. So basically, so we are expecting you to use AWS VMs. So in one VM you can actually configure Jenkins, and in another VM you can configure Spinnaker. Okay. If you have any doubts, any questions, please ask. And as you can see, so here we are actually expecting you to create a Kubernetes cluster, and in this cluster, it can be like a single master cluster. It's not an issue, so you can have a multiple master if needed. But in this case, let's go with a single master, and then in Kubernetes cluster, you might have you can have many worker nodes based on your uh, based on your need. So let's say if you go with our source code, like the code that we have already published in the GitHub. So in there actually we have 5 services. So it's in microservice architecture. We'll explain I mean after this. So we'll explain the code base, and it will have 5 services: uh, discovery service, gateway service, and basically 3 microservices, right? So in that case, you need to publish, basically you need to run deploy all these services into worker nodes, right? Worker node. And in that case, maybe you can use 5 worker nodes, because we have 5 services: discovery, gateway, and 3 microservices. But let's say if you want to go with your own code base, own repository, so in that case you can have maybe 1 or 2 services. It's based on your requirement. It's totally depend on you, right? And also in our case, actually we are using MySQL as a data source. So if you are going with our repository, you can have a separate node, basically outside Kubernetes, right? Separate node in node for my data source, like for MySQL, or else if you need, you can actually have a MySQL inside the cluster. It's totally, I mean, it's based on your, I mean, if you need, you can go with deploy that in Kubernetes, but this, I mean, having an external node is totally fine. So, and obviously you need to like connect each other, right? So let's say if you have a service running here, and then you need to basically connect to your data source, right? So if you should check how you can connect maybe outside the basically the source outside of the cluster, or maybe let's say you are running inside the MySQL. MySQL is in inside cluster. You need to check how you can connect each node, right? So basically your application should be able to connect the data source and get the data. So, and you should be able to basically demonstrate entire stack, right? So let's say if you can basically do some modification into code base, and then you can in Jenkins you can run the pipeline, and then you can demonstrate, so okay, entire basically journey, and then you can maybe you can show, like you can run application and I mean just show us okay, the change you have done here, deploy in maybe in your environment cluster. So you should be able to demonstrate that. And so in our case, actually we have separate component for UI, so which is built in Angular. And so if you are going with that, actually you can have a separate node for Angular, and you can configure as a UI, right? UI for the basically the services. But if you, I mean, it's optional. If you are comfortable, you can go with Angular, or what. Let's say if you don't have any front end application or anything, so still you can, maybe you can demonstrate using Postman or like some REST clients. So we are not expecting you to like develop front end, right? So it's optional. If you have time, you can develop front end. If you don't have, still you can demonstrate. Okay, application is working fine. Maybe using some REST client, maybe Postman or REST client or something. So you can demonstrate the basically application training. That is what we want to measure. So this is the, I think I covered almost like everything in this particular diagram. Any questions if you have before moving to next? So this is basically this is time to actually clarify if you have any doubt, because I think you're given 2-3 weeks, I guess. I think Indica will basically explain the timeline and all that. And if you have any doubts, please ask now. But let's say if you don't have doubt, and let's say if you start, usually you get questions after you starting this thing. So then you can ask, you can post your question on our WhatsApp group, or maybe you can reach out us individually, or no matter what it is. So we will help you. But if you have any doubt, if you want to like explain more, please let me know. Good. Okay. Right. So moving on. So this is these are the basically the way like we are expecting you to submit your assignment. So we are expecting you to basically record, create a video explaining all aspects in your CI/CD flow. So, and basically you should be able to like demonstrate all aspects and entire CI/CD journey, including like I said. So you first explain how you have configured this. So what are the microservices? So what are the components you have configured in your cluster? Likewise, so you try to give clear idea, and maybe you can do a small change, and then you can demonstrate how the entire journey works. Actually, you can do some changes, and then use trigger Jenkins, and then show us like how basically your code change get into deployed into Kubernetes. And then from Kubernetes side, the application side, you can actually show maybe from UI, or maybe sending a Postman, like sending a code in Postman, you can get the response, and like you can demonstrate, okay, the changes you have done in the code base now is deployed in Kubernetes. So you should be able to like demonstrate basically entire journey, entire CI/CD flow, and you can actually upload your video to YouTube and before the deadline, and share the URL with us. So that's a criteria like submissions. Basically, a criteria we are expecting. Any questions? Okay, right. I think we are clear. So what we need to achieve at the end of this evaluation. So I think Milinda, we can explain the code base, like the basically the code that we have like already created in publish in GitHub.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So over to you, Milinda. Milinda will give you kind of a high level idea of our current code base and what we have basically uh, what are the components, key components we have developed in the code base and uh, yeah, the services. Okay. So over to you, Milinda. I made you as a presenter.
Oh, thank you. I will share my screen. Hope you guys see my screen.
Yes, can see.
So first I will explain the high level architecture of the application. So if you are going with this the already built application, you will have this kind of architecture. So as Kapil mentioned, there will be 5 services, 3 microservices, um, car microservice, location, and the reservation. And there will be 2 other services. One is API gateway, other one is the discovery service. Okay, so all the 5 services are built with Spring Boot. So if you are building the file as a jar file, yeah, you can do that. Or otherwise, you can. If you are going to build it as a WAR file, then you can do that as well. So yeah, and this is the front end, and front end developed with Angular. So and we have one database, and for each microservice having a separate table. So there will be a car table, location, and reservation. So in high level, like that's the overview about the application. So yeah, I think couple of that's yeah, right.
Yes.
would be nothing.
Yes. Yeah. So basically, uh, so as you can see, I hope you remember, right? So we discussed microservice architecture. So in microservice architecture, we explained that there are key components, right? So API gateway, discovery service. So likewise, there are like key components you can find in microservice architecture. As you can see here, uh, the first icon that is Angular. It is outside microservice the microservice basically solution. It is outside, and then in it is pointing to a kind of a basically gateway, application gateway, right? And as you can see, application, I think, hope you remember. So application gateway is the entry point, your entire the services, right? In after that, you can find there are 3 services which is built on Spring Boot, car service, as Milinda explained, car service, location service, and reservation service. And at bottom, you can find discovery service, right? So, and all these services are basically linked to MySQL database. This is the code base that we have developed and published in GitHub, right? As I said,
Yeah.
if you want, you can basically use this entire code base and deploy into Kubernetes using CI/CD. But let's say if you want if you want to go with your own code base, still you have the freedom. Okay. Right, Milinda. Anything you want to explain here more like?
No, I think from the architecture, then yeah, that's the whole.
Right. So we will basically share these diagrams, repositories, and PPTs and everything after the session. Then you can go and refer. And also, if needed, you can actually look at the source code and you can create your own service. Totally fine. Uh, yes. Anything else you want to explain, Milind?
Yes. Yeah. So before we will share this link with you. So here you will find uh, services, I mean, files related to the microservice in this folder. DevOps Lab, DevOps Lab Dev Services, and source code to the Angular application you will find here. DevOps Lab Dev Client, and all the supporting documents. Yeah, you will find database related here, and the architecture also you can look into here.
Yeah. And also we have actually shared kind of a like high level user guide. So you can go and refer that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can get an idea. Deployment guide, you can read and you can get an idea how to deploy this in the basically yeah. Uh, any questions? Any more questions, team? Anything else you want to explain? Okay, thanks, Milinda. I think we are done in the
Yeah, thanks, Kapilas. So, team, like, what we are expecting is this will be a good assignment, right? So, this is just like you getting into a new project where things are already happening. So, you will can go through this code base, you can do the changes, and if you are planning for new work, you can use this as a template for microservices as well. And couple of the front end Angular also there, right? If anyone needed, they can deploy it and connect,
yes.
right? Yeah.
Yes, in yeah.
Yeah, so it's a complete package, right? It's a complete Angular microservice based setup. So, just go and, try to play around. If you need any help, let us know. And be mindful that, we are not going to do a presentation or anything. It's just a live video. So you record it, make it as much as detail as possible. And then, we will go through and, and we'll kind of like, go through and evaluate. So I think, and then that's it, right, Kapila?
Yes. So any detail about the timeline and in the basically the structure of the group, like how many is it a group assignment or is it individual one? No, is it a group one, right, Indika?
Yeah, it's a group one, right? So we are hoping at least a group will be maximum 3 people. So it should not go beyond that. Maximum 3 people, and yeah, the teams can do that. Yeah, and even if someone wants to do individually, that's fine, right? The only thing is it's a maximum 3 people, but if anyone wants to do individually, that's we are open.
Yeah.
And we are planning to close this by this October, right? So in 2 weeks' time, probably that is around 28th. So 28th, if you will have exactly 2 weeks. So 28th, 29th, if you can finish, then that would be great. So we'll share more detail about the closure and those things and how to share the video with us. As Kapila said, like you can upload it to your YouTube. That will also add value, right? You can share it. So if you put little bit of focus, mind, this will be a good project where that will you will learn a lot. And when you're getting into actual DevOps engagement.
Yeah, to be honest, this is a real life example, real life application like project development. So it's a really good opportunity for you to learn and explore that, like get the experience in CI/CD.
with that, I think we'll close the session, right? So thanks, Kapila. Thanks, Milinder. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah,
Thanks
yeah.
for taking
Thanks
time.
everyone. Yeah. Good
Thanks.
night. Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Good
Ivan.
night.
Thanks,
Bye.
Kapil.